There are many problems in the world and many people are still suffering. In order to solve these issues and become happier people, we need to find what the root cause of these problems are. For the majority of problems, the source is the individual. If people lack moral values and integrity, the world will never be rid of corruption and injustice. This is where secular ethics comes in. Secular ethics is available to all people regardless of religious background and/or involvement. In fact, the word secular in modern India implies mutual tolerance and respect for all faiths. In the words of Dalai Lama, secular ethics refers to cultivating basic human values that does not rely on religious principles. The main goal of secular ethics is to develop a deep and thorough understanding of our own inner values and what is important to us. An individual cannot survive without inner values. They are what give us emotional strength and balance. By understanding our own morals, we can help to build a world that is full of compassion, tolerance, and empathy.
Three main points of secular ethics that we are going to discuss are shared humanity, interdependence, and compassion.
One of the main features of secular ethics is the fact that all of us together are a part of a shared humanity. In a biological sense, we are all social animals. We cannot be happy without interacting with others and forming strong bonds with people. How we treat other people and interact with the world depends on how we view ourselves. The way we define our identity can help us understand what unites us with everyone around us. Our connections and interactions with individuals around us is what allows us to display empathy. When we see someone we know, or even a stranger in pain, we can feel their suffering. We also feel the urge to help them in any way that we can. In the same way, we can feel joy when others feel joy. For example, when we are watching a football game and the team scores a touchdown, we feel the joy and excitement that the players on the field feel. Empathy is a very important inner value to cultivate. It can help make you as an individual a better person, and in addition to that, it can make the world around you a better place to live. A person's empathy can be seen through their charitable work and generosity. Teachers and UVA students, such as myself, volunteer at a preschool in a low-income area in Charlottesville. Every day, we try to instill a joy of learning in the kids. Our involvement not only helps the kids, but it also helps us. Seeing them happy and eager to learn brings happiness to my life and others who interact with them as well. By helping others, you better those around you while bettering yourself. Empathy and generosity can help make the world a better place.
Interdependence relates to shared humanity, but emphasizes the effect we have on others and others on us as social animals. I think this idea can easily be summarized by the maxim we're taught as kids in kindergarten: do to others as you would to yourself. Obviously, to a child, this idea of interdependence is minor issues such as not hitting another because you wouldn't want to be hit in return. However, we can take this into the scope of adult life too with our first impressions. How we carry ourselves definitely impacts others. If we are cheerful, people reciprocate. I think both these examples encourage warmth and valuing others. To highlight the importance of compassion, I think we could look at Portugal and its word saudade. While untranslatable, saudade is essentially a longing for an absence or even an experience you know you can never experience again. Looking at its origins, it developed during the Age of Exploration in the 15th century. With sailors out exploring, shipwrecks were common, and many women were widowed. Within the framework of interdependence, I think you could say the effect of the somber environment and constant sadness impacted all others in the community. More so, the longing for those lost by the individuals and the potential memory of compassion once shared, needing to be labeled as fascinating. Further, we can see the impact of saudade as a potential example of interdependence in its musical genre of the same name, popular still today in Portugal. Indeed, interdependence suggests individuals and the very interactions we have a larger impact on society. An example of saudade is provided below. It is called Lamento Serentejo by Gilberto Gil.
The essence of compassion is the desire to alleviate the suffering of others and to promote their well-being. The Dalai Lama offers a complex yet straightforward discussion on compassion. He describes two basic levels: biological compassion and extended compassion. Biological compassion is defined as a seed from which unbiased compassion can grow. Meanwhile, extended compassion is where we take the innate capacity for warm-heartedness and use our intelligence to expand it. The Dalai Lama has also said that compassion and affection are human values independent of religion. Of course, all the world's major religions, with their emphasis on love, compassion, patience, tolerance, and forgiveness, can and do promote inner values. But the reality of the world today is that grounding ethics in religion is no longer adequate. The seed of compassion and affection is not something that comes from religion, it comes from biology. We each came from our mother's womb, and each of us survived due to our mother's care and affection. The compassionate human affection is really important. The more compassionate our mind is, the better our brain functions. If our mind develops fear and anger, then our brain functions more poorly. Secondarily, compassion gives us inner strength. It gives us self-confidence that reduces fear. Therefore, compassion has two functions. It causes our brain to function better, and it brings inner strength. These work together to create happiness, and compassion can be shown in numerous ways. An example of acts of compassion can be seen with the university with the club Pancakes from Parkinson's. The goal of this club is to help reduce the suffering of people with Parkinson's through monetary donations to further research while also raising awareness. Also, compassion can be looked at globally with the environment and climate change. The Dalai Lama believes that we share a sense of responsibility for both mankind and nature. According to the IPCC, 95% of scientists believe that humans are the cause of rapid warming. This causes concern for our environment. In addition, it fuels the understanding that the future of humanity depends on the planet, and the future of the planet depends on humanity. Essentially, this means that in order to save future generations from suffering, humanity must show compassion and take care of our environment. Compassion for the environment can be seen through conserving water, picking up trash, planting trees, recycling, and much more.
After discussing the three main points of secular ethics of shared humanity, interdependence, and compassion, we have some final questions we want to pose to the listener. One question that is left remaining is the gap between ideal and reality. India has a secular constitution that inspired the Dalai Lama's secular ethics, but the tensions between religious communities is so strong that one might wonder how successful the constitution actually is. And going back to interdependence, the cultural learning of these tensions and differences seems to overcome the legal attempt to dispel these tensions through respect. So, one might ask, does the Dalai Lama's vision for the world potentially face the same fate? Can visions change automatic cultural biases, or do visions get lost in reality? In addition, if compassion drives secular ethics, how do we make sense of it? Can it be misguided? And if so, how? Do you have any specific examples? Finally, do you think the concept of secular ethics is intended to make individuals aware of their impact on others, and in turn encourage increased self-awareness? No matter your stance on secular ethics after this presentation, the Dalai Lama's vision of peace does encourage all of us to think more about our place in this world.